Hey, back in the kitchen again. Someone sent me an email the other day asking about tomatoes, etc., and the quality of canned tomatoes, if they use them, if I use them, all that kind of stuff. So I do use canned tomatoes a bit, especially when my own are out of season, or if, like this year, because of the hailstorms and the drought, it's an odd combination, my own crop didn't really do too well. Because I find that canned tomatoes, if I can't get good fresh ones from the farmers markets, that is, are really of a good quality. So I'm going to do a quick recipe today, similar to the other one I did, but I'm going to use a canned tomato instead, and a little bit different. So I've got some olive oil in my wok. I'll just turn the heat up a little bit. Probably got about 2 tablespoons. I've cut up 1 small red or Spanish onion, depending on where you come from. Alright, chuck all that in. Now obviously with the ingredients I'm using today, you can add more or less of what you like. Like this might seem like a fair amount of red onion, but I like it in there. Give that a bit of a stir. Alright. Now, what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to do a tomato sauce, but I'm going to do a tomato, oregano and tuna sauce. So if you're not going to use tuna, or if you're a vegetarian, put a little bit more olive oil in here if it's a bit dry, but I'm going to be using tuna. So I've got my can, and I'm just going to tip some of the oil out of the actual can. It's got the flavour of the tuna in there. But obviously if you're vegetarian, omit the tuna and just use regular olive oil. Give that a good stir around, let them cook down a little bit. We don't want to burn them, we just want to bring a nice light colour and just a bit of transparency to the onions. Plus the smell of cooking onions in a house is just lovely. It's like baked bread really, isn't it? Now I'm just going to put some garlic in too. Now I'm just using a bottle of minced garlic, I haven't got any cloves. Now I like, 1 teaspoon is generally enough, but I quite enjoy my garlic, so I'm going to put 2 in. And let me give this a quick stir through. Alright, so that's coming on nice. And I'm going to put some anchovies in. Now you can just add a pinch of salt. But like I've said in other videos, anchovies are amazing in the fact that they bring a nice saltiness to the actual dish. And hang on, I'll just grab a tea towel. They bring a nice saltiness to the dish, but they don't bring that fishy flavour. If you're using them in a sauce and you're adding them initially with all the other base ingredients, they'll actually just cook down and pretty much just dissolve into it, so you won't even know they're there. I've given the dishes before with anchovies cooked down in it like this to people who profess to hating anchovies and they didn't even notice. So, give that a quick stir through, bring the heat up a little bit. Now, to the tomatoes, I often find I have a better success rate of finding tin tomatoes that have come from Italy than Australia, so I don't know if we have a lot of tin tomatoes coming from Australia and they're just hard to find them, right? But these are always good. Now you'll generally get diced ones or you'll get peeled whole ones. Now these are the peeled whole ones. So if you've got these, rather than tip it out and it becomes a big mess, just get a nice long thin knife and just run it through. No risk of cutting your hands. Just do it from both sides. And you'll just pierce them. They're so soft from being cooked. A lot of tin food's actually cooked in the can anyway. So that looks pretty good. Obviously if once you've poured it in it's still a bit too chunky, you can just give it a bit of a mash when it's in the actual pan itself. So I'll try and do this really quick. Alright, that's cooked through nice. Now the onions have just come to a nice, they're just taking on a bit of colour now. In go my tomatoes. Keep the heat up a little bit. Now I might add a little bit of water. just use the can and just give it a swirl around. You'll get all the other juice out of there. So I've put in 1 can and probably about 1/3 of the can of the actual tomatoes. I mean of the water with the tomatoes, I should say. Keep it on the boil. We want to bring it to a boil and then we'll reduce it. Now at this point I'm just going to add my oregano or oregano, depending on where you live. Now I will take the stalk off this one. I don't always take the stalk off. I'm going to just give it a nice scrunch it up. Doesn't have to be fine. We just want to kind of break it up a bit. Chuck that in. Give it a stir. Now at this point I'm going to add a little bit of white wine too. Where's this from? South Australia. I've only used it for cooking. It smells nice, but I'm not really a wine drinker, so I'm going to put in a good slosh, probably about 1/2 cup. Give it a stir. Bring the heat down, and we'll let that simmer for about 15-20 minutes. Keep your eye on it. I'll put the lid on. Oops, missed a bit of oregano. Right, and that's it. Now keep your eye on it. You don't want it to burn on the bottom. This is a non-stick pan, so it generally doesn't, but if you're using just your normal saucepans on the hob, be careful of that. Cook it for about another 15 minutes. Bring it right down. And literally what I'm going to do from there, I'm going to throw in my tin of tuna. I've got a good size, 425 grams. And I've cooked up some spaghetti as well. And I'll chuck both of those in, mix it up, some black pepper. Bon appetit. So it's really easy. So that's what I do with tinned tomatoes. I do a whole lot of things with them, but that's the easiest way to go. So all I've done, I've 1 red onion or Spanish onion diced in some olive oil, some garlic, some anchovies. If you don't like anchovies, or if you're veggie, just put some salt in to taste. Stir it around, cut up your tomatoes, bang them in, some oregano, and away you go from there. If you want some white wine, cook it down, go from there. You can freeze it once it's cooled down really well too. Or, if you're not veggie, some tuna, spaghetti, there you go. Another nice addition to a good rich tomato sauce like this is sausages. If you've got some sausages, cook them up, let them cool a little bit, dice them up into little medallions, throw them in. Chicken, rabbit, you could really, tomato sauce is, the beauty in tomato sauce is it's such a great foundation for so many other things, different meats and fish, game, you can put heaps of stuff in there. But that's just another tomato sauce using canned tomatoes. Cool. Any questions, just give me a yell. I'll let this cook down for a bit and then I'll add the rest of the ingredients and then I'll mange it from there. Cool. Alright. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.